Hello guys. Alright, so this is a tutorial video to help you get the DTI indicator set up and working on your MetaTrader 4 platform. What you're going to need will be the 4 files that we've sent over to you, or you've downloaded, which will be these 4 here. And in there you've got DTI file. That's the strategy. That's the only one you really need. Well, I add a caveat to that. If you want to put it on a 2-minute chart, you'll also need this period converter file here. But they will be the only 2 files that you need to get the strategy working. These other 2 files are open source, so the code is included if you want it. And there is a super trend file and a VWAP file, so that's for your own benefit if you want to use it. It's not essential. Okay, so your instructions will look a little bit better than this, but I'm just using a notepad at the moment. And we're going to start with this. We're going to go through and copy and paste the files into MetaTrader. We're then going to work out how to do a 2-minute chart on MetaTrader, because that's not standard. We're then going to put the indicators onto the chart that we like. We need to make sure that we choose the right password for those indicators. Going to learn how to save the template, and then you're ready to go and take the signals. All right. One thing just to mention before we go any further is that this version of the DTI indicator does not include the colored candles. Okay, and it doesn't also include the deviation high or the deviation low bands. Okay, it's arrows only. All right, it's only providing arrows where there is a buy or a sell signal. If you want the Sierra Charts version of the strategy, then you'll need to upgrade your charting package to Sierra Charts. Okay, let's get started. So we're going to jump on with the first one, which is copying and pasting the files into MetaTrader. So we've got these 4 files here. We just simply select those, right-click, copy. And then go into MetaTrader, File, Open Data Folder. When that opens, go into MQL4. When that opens, go into Indicators and select anywhere in here, right-click, and then paste. I can't see paste. Okay, click somewhere blank. Don't click on a file name. Click somewhere blank and click paste or Control V. All right. Once that's pasted, the files are in the folder that they need to be in. That's it. That step is done. What we should do now is refresh the platform. There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can either just restart MetaTrader by closing it and reopening it, or go down to the navigator panel, which should be down here. If you don't see that, view navigator. Right click anywhere around where it says indicators here. If you don't see that, it might look like that. Just press the plus sign. Right click, refresh. Okay. There's the DTI MQL. Everything should appear in this list, but for me, I actually put my files in a subfolder here, and you wonder if I just press refresh, whether they'll show in that subfolder. Oh, there we go. Okay, I don't recommend putting them in a subfolder. I just have for this demonstration. So they are your files. That is done. So let's move on to step 2. What we need to now do is open up a 2-minute chart for that strategy. Now, MetaTrader does not have a 2-minute chart as standard. I've just clicked DAX, drag and drop into the chart. I'll double click on this. I'll press Control and G to take off the grid. I'll shift this to the end. Zoom in a little bit. Maybe change the candles to candlesticks, and maybe I'll just go to properties here and change the color scheme maybe as well what I'll do is I'll just change the candles. There's just something that looks a little bit more similar to my Sierra charts. Okay, so there we go. That's all set up. Now we need to create a 2-minute chart. So let's change the time frame to a 1-minute chart. Right click, time frames, 1 minute. Or you can use that button there. Okay. Now we're on a 1-minute chart here. We need to convert that to 2 minutes. So now we need to use this indicator. P4L, period con 509. Not a very nice name. When you drag and drop that on, you'll get this inputs screen here. We want the third one down, which says period multiplier. Double click on the value, change it to 2. If it's not already 2, change it to 2. Press OK. It gives you a message here saying go File, Open Offline Chart, and then select that one. So let's do that. File, Offline, double click on JUR 30 minute 2, and there you have it. That is your 2-minute chart. Now let's do the same thing. Control G, turn the grid off, shift it, turn it to candles, zoom in. It's quite a lot of effort here, but what we'll do in a moment is we'll create a template that will allow us to have everything set up the way that we like it. So for now, we've got our 2-minute chart. Let's go on to the next one. Let's drag and drop the indicators on. Here's the indicator for DTI, drag and drop. Okay, the first thing it's going to ask you for is the password. Now you already have the password in your version, so put that in there, double click, and then put the password, whatever it is, in there. These are the inputs that are available for you. Do you want to have alerts? Do you remember the alert box that popped up a moment ago that gave us an instruction to open the offline chart? You can have one of them every time there is an arrow or a signal. That gives you the option to decide whether you want that or not. Push notifications, you can set this up to send messages to your phone. What you'll need to do with that is configure it in the tools. You can watch a YouTube video to do that separately if you like. You'll need to install the MetaTrader app on your phone and then basically pair the two together. It's very easy to do. Next one, signal comment. There'll be some information up the screen here about when the most recent signal appeared. If you want that information, then set that to true. If you don't want that information, set that to false. Depending on how much history you have on your platform, you might have just the default amount, a few thousand bars. Or if you've done a lot of back testing, you might have millions of bars in your history file. So therefore, you can set the amount of bars that you want this indicator to look back. If you have millions of bars, it would normally take a long time for this indicator to set up because it's got to go and look through all of that. So if you just limit the amount of history that it uses, it will speed the indicator up. And the final one is how far away from the candles do you want the arrows to appear? I normally choose a number between 1 and 5. The default is 1. That will make more sense when you see it on the screen. Now if I press OK here without a password, unfortunately it won't work. You'll get this alert box that will says the password is no longer valid, get the latest password, and you'll need to enter that to get it working for you. Now you should already have the password. If you don't, then just send a message and I'll get that all set up for you. Just off screen right now, I'm just going to go and get the most recent password, and I'm going to put it in here. To ever get back to the screen, you can right click on the screen and go to indicators list, and then double click on that. Make sure there's only one of them at any time on a chart. If there are lots of them, you'll get lots of messages. Okay, so I have just entered the password and it's given me the arrows on the chart. That is pretty much good to go. Let's go and have a look at the next thing. We've entered the password, we've chosen the settings, so now we're going to save a template. So let's just quickly change the properties again. Don't want that. I want this, and I'm going to make my bear candle maybe some sort of tomato. There we go. And maybe I'll change the color of the arrows as well. There we go. I've gone into the indicator settings here, and this would be where the color would be. And maybe let's just change those to black. And then press close, and there you go. So that's that done. Now what we need to do, you see the comment information up here? This is what I was referring to. Right click, template, save template. So we're going to call this DTI January 19 or something like that. So when the password expires in a few months' time and a new password comes out, you might need to then enter the new password and then save a new template as April 19 or something like that. Okay, and that should be all you need. So what we're going to do now is just test that. So we're going to go and just remove that one to the side for the moment. Now it's very important that you keep both of these charts open. That is the master chart, which is a 1 minute chart that has a period converter on it. That has to stay open in order for this 2 minute chart to work. All right, if you close the 1 minute chart, this will stop. And then obviously if you close this, then you can just reopen another one. Okay, so let's just reopen. Let's go and do a Footsie chart. So Footsie, it's an hourly chart at the moment. We'll change that to a 1 minute chart. We'll drop the period converter on it. It's set to 2. We'll press OK. It gives me an error or an alert to say go and open the offline chart for Footsie. So let's go and do that. Open offline chart. What do we want? UK 100 2 minute. Double click on that. That's it. Minimize the 1 minute chart. Maximize the 2 minute chart. Right click, template, DTI Jan 19. There you go. All right. So now you can have, they're the two that we've opened up. 2 minute chart for the DAX, 2 minute chart for Footsie. And just to show how easy and quick you can do that, if you just wanted to do it with the Dow, let's just do it quick. Drag and drop. There you go. So it only takes a few seconds to do once you're used to it. You won't need to do that all the time. But what might happen when you close this down and then reopen this is that it might re-ask for the password, because by default the password is all automatically set to blank. So if it pops up and asks for the password, you'll just need to right click on that template, your DTI, and then do the same for this one and the same for the whichever charts you're using. So you might need to do it 3 times, but that's hopefully not the end of the world. All right. If you want to experiment as well, you might even be able to save these as profiles. You've got 3 different charts here. So if you go to File, Profiles, you might be able to save that as a profile, which automatically saves the password for all 3. So if you ever get the password error message when you load it up for the first time, maybe you can just go File, Profiles, click on the profile, and it should do all of them. I haven't experimented with that. You might need to play with it, but that might save you having to right click on all of your charts. I hope that it helps. That has gone through how to do all of the things we looked at. So we've copied and pasted the files, we've opened up a 2 minute chart, we've put all of the main indicators on the chart, entered the password and saved a template. Before we finish up, we may as well just drag and drop the other 2 on as well. So the super trend drag and drops. There are no inputs on this. You just simply drop it on and that's it. Okay, and the VWAP has an input, but I don't use it. I just keep it on 1 day. And then it's actually yellow at the moment. But if you go into the indicator settings, right click indicator list, you will be able to see that it has some color parts in there. Here we go. Let's just move that back. There we go. There's a colors tab, and you can change the yellow here to black or whatever color you want. Okay, so that's VWAP. The super trend, unfortunately, is not going to be full code. It will just be an EX4 file, but the VWAP file, if you want to go in and play around with that, then you can do. So I may have said at the beginning of the video that it would be a full code open source file. Unfortunately, it isn't for super trend. Right, guys, that is everything. So hopefully that helps. You've got it all set up, good to go. And yeah, I look forward to getting your feedback. Hopefully it all works perfectly for you. We'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching, and take care. Have a good trading day.